Hello, everybody. We are now on 1.3.3, Constraining a Sketch Part 4. This is the final part for this activity. Okay, we want to start off by going up to our data panel. In our data panel, we want to select our Unit 1 project folder. When we're in our Unit 1 project folder, we're actually going to go down. We need to find 1.3.3 Part 3. So you're going to double click on that to open it up. So we're going to continue with what we were doing on there. Okay, we're going to close the data panel so we have more room to work. I want to first double check my view cube, make sure it's correct. I then want to double check my document settings and make sure they're in millimeters. They should be because that's how you made the sketch, so it should open up that way. Okay, next thing I want to do is I'm going to go down to my timeline. In my timeline, I'm going to right click on the sketch and I'm going to click Edit Sketch. It's going to bring it back into the sketch format so that we can do things with it. Okay, today our primary thing is to put sketch dimensions on here. So this is where we're going to tell it what size we want everything to be. Okay, and if we set up our geometric constraints correctly, then everything should work just fine as we're doing this. So in other words, when I do the sketch dimension for this circle should update automatically. So let's start with that. I'm going to go on up to my toolbar, to my Create tab. This last icon here in the Create tab is Sketch Dimension. You can also find it by clicking on the down arrow, going down to Sketch Dimension, or you can right-click on the canvas, click on Sketch, and then find Sketch Dimension. All three of those ways are appropriate ways to do this. Whoops. Let me go back. I got out of... Let me go back. There we go. I got out of my sketch somehow. Okay, so let me go into Sketch Dimension. I'm going to start off with the circle first. I'm going to take my circle. I'm going to bring it out this way a bit. I want my circle to be 5 millimeters. So I'm going to put a 5 in and hit Enter. And I'm going to drag this off of the sketch a little bit just so I can see everything clearly. The next dimension we're going to do is line 6, which is this top line here. I'm going to click on the line. I'm going to drag up. I'm going to click once, and I'm going to change this to 20 and hit Enter. Okay. Oh, and notice when I changed the size of this circle, this one did update properly. So that's good. Okay, change the size of this to 20. That was good. Now we're going to put a dimension on line 7. I'm going to drag this out this way. We're going to make this 15 millimeters. And then I'm going to go down here to line 10. I'm going to drag this out. I'm going to make this 15 millimeters. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a dimension for the entire height of our shape. I'm going to start at line 1. I'm going to click on line 1. I'm going to go on up all the way to line 6. Click. I'm going to drag this out to the right. I want to make this 45 millimeters. Okay. That's what it should look like at this point. And one last dimension we want to do is line 1. I'm going to click on line 1 and drag down. I want to make this 100 millimeters. Okay, there we go. That's what your shape should look like at this point. We're not quite done with it yet, though. We are going to make some other adjustments to it. So first thing I'm going to adjust is going to be, well, first I need to get out of my sketch tool. Okay. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to think about, what if I wanted this actually to be 125 millimeters? If I were to just go in here and click on this number and change it, would it update appropriately? Would both sides increase equal amounts to make a total of 125 millimeters? Let's find out. Let's double click on the dimension. And I'm going to type in 125 and click Enter. And it did. If you have one side that got longer than the other, then you need to go back to part 3 and find out what happened with your dimensions, because something in here did not dimension correctly. So both of these, both sides of line 1 should have updated equally to give you a total of 125. Okay, next thing I'm going to do, I want to look at this 45 here. Now, what if I were to change this to 60? Would it update like line 1 did? Is everything going to increase in equal amounts to give me a total of 60? Let's see. I'm going to double click on it. I'm going to change it to 60. It did not happen. Why do you think that didn't happen? So think about it for a little bit. Look at what you have. So we don't have a dimension on line 8, but we have a dimension on line 10 and on line 7. So that's telling us that no matter what we do to the overall height, this part will always be 15 millimeters. This part will always be 15 millimeters. Okay, so if I change this to 80, again, only lines 8 and 4 changed. 7 and 10 are still the same. So let's take this down to 45. So what if I wanted my shape to be 100 millimeters, but I only wanted this part up here to get longer. I wanted 5 and 7 to get longer. I want 4 and 8 to stay the way they are, and I want 2 and 10 to stay the way they are. What would I need to do? In order to make that happen, we need to go over here to our 15 millimeters for line 7. We need to left click, right click, and hit delete. Now I can go over here to my height dimension, double click on it, and I can type in 100 and click enter. And there we go. That's what we wanted to have happen. 5 and 7 increased in length or in height, but 4, 8, 2, and 10 all stayed the same length that they were to begin with. That is what we wanted to have happen. Now what I want to do is I want to go into my sketch palette. I'm going to turn all of my dimensions and constraints off. I'm done looking at them, done using them. Now I just want to be able to see the sketch and make it look nice. So I'm going to go over to my sketch palette. I'm going to go to the dimension option and unclick that box, and the constraints option and unclick that box. Here we go. Now it looks like just a normal sketch. Okay. The next thing I want to do is we want to go ahead and extrude this to be 5 millimeters. So I'm going to go on up to where it says solid. I'm going to click on my extrude. I'm going to click on my shape. You do not want the holes selected. We just want the T-bar portion of it to be extruded. We want the circles to be like holes when we're done. I'm going to change this to 5 millimeters and click enter. And then I can turn it, and you can see that it has indeed been extruded 5 millimeters. Okay, this is what you should upload into Canvas for your Part 4 assignment.